Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. Our program is about to begin. Thank you.
There's a lot of rumble in the room. I hate to call everybody back to their tables, but I don't think we want to be here till 5 o'clock. While you're getting settled, it's great to hear all the chatter. It's great to see familiar faces and meet some new faces today. So thanks, everyone. Okay, well, welcome back. So wearing both my Microsoft hat and my New North board hat, I have worked with our next speaker on many initiatives. In particular, digital skilling with our upskilling efforts. So please help me welcome Anne Franz, Executive Director of the New Manufacturing Alliance.
Thanks so much, Michelle, and thank you to Barb and New North for this opportunity to share a little bit about the Alliance with you. It is hard to believe that June marks the 15-year anniversary for the New Manufacturing Alliance. Yay! The idea for the organization started with Paul Rauscher, owner of EMT International. He realized that manufacturers had a problem. And who best to fix that problem than the manufacturers in our community? What started with 12 companies now has over 300 members that employ over half of the manufacturing workforce in Northeast Wisconsin. And job one for us was to really change that image of manufacturing. And who best to change that image than the talented men and women that work in the profession? So that was the catalyst for our All-Stars magazine. The All-Stars are recognizing people of all areas, from welders to machinists to engineers. We have actually been doing this program for 12 years, and we actually have over 200,000 magazines that have been distributed over the years, which is really exciting. I think it's so important. I used to go out and say, hey, you should be a welder. Well, why not have real people who really do these professions talk about their great careers and the great companies right here in the New North. Another really important program for our organization is called the Manufacturing First Expo and Conference. We, way back when, I went to our board and said, hey, you know what? We'd like to partner with First Business Bank and Insight Publications on a big conference. And my board said, no one's ever going to come to something like that. Well, wow, were they wrong. Because in 2019, we had over 1,200 attendees, 185 plus exhibitors, plus over 500 students. I hope you'll join us this year on October 27th for the big event at the KI Convention Center. 10 years ago, we also started the Excellence in Manufacturing K-12 Partnership Awards. This event recognizes schools and manufacturers that are working together to advance manufacturing careers. Today is the deadline to nominate, so please do so because we'll be having that event on October 26th to recognize all the award winners. You know, K-12 engagement and outreach is so critically important to our organization. We had a math teacher say, you know, I'm tired of kids raising their hand in my class saying, when am I ever going to do this, use this in the real world? And so we created Get Real Math videos. Now these free videos and lesson plans are used all over the country. And this year we're going to be actually debuting at a premiere, Get Real Science 2. We knew also that this past school year we really need to still have hands-on activities for students. So we worked with the Einstein Project on having kids take a car kit home and then watch a live Zoom call of putting it together. Our sister organization, the North Coast Marine Manufacturing Alliance, also does a big, cool underwater robotics competition, but this year we couldn't do it. So we scaled it back to a boat build where we gave kids free kits from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Green Bay, Menasha, and the Girl Scouts. Another important activity of our organization is a partnership with New Era called Internship Draft Day. It's a college internship fair with a twist. It's held right here at Lambeau Field. Student gets points for how well they interview, and at the end of the evening, we've been fortunate to have Mark Murphy announce the #1 draft picks, and we give away college scholarships. Our primary scholarship fundraiser is our President's Cup Scholarship Golf Outing at Black Wolf Run. The twist on this is our sponsors get to choose what manufacturing presidents they get to golf with. And in total, we have given over $325,000 in college scholarships over the years. Thank you. A new strategy for us is Industry 4.0. So we're helping our companies understand about the latest technology and working with our colleges on what are those future degrees needed in Industry 4.0. We've also upskilled over 150 member employees in data analytics skills in the last 6 months. We wanted to be the voice of manufacturing, so we partnered with UW-Oshkosh about 12 years ago on the Northeast Wisconsin Manufacturing Vitality Study. Plus, we've also worked with developing a retirement readiness seminar as well. You know, back in the day, Paul Rauscher said, you know what, we here in Northeast Wisconsin should be really proud. We're a world-class manufacturer, and one day we're going to plant a flag right in the ground saying we're that. So many years ago, we did that. And what's so exciting is that we have seen so much improvement in people viewing manufacturing careers in a new light, but there's so much more to do in changing that image of manufacturing. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you New North's Offensive Player of the Year, Kim Bassett from Bassett Mechanical. A little background on Kim. Although Kim has enough schooling to be a medical doctor, I'm about the same. Her career passion, though, lies within the mechanical contracting industry. Her journey has taken her from working every facet at Bassett Mechanical. In fact, I was told you were in sales, but you never sold anything in your life, not even Girl Scout cookies, huh? So she's been working in the field alongside tradespeople to various office positions. She rose to the position of CEO in 2009 amidst the Great Recession. Kim loves being on the water, boating, traveling around the world, and as a side hobby, drives around looking at rooftop equipment to identify new customers. Please welcome Kim Bassett.
March 10th, 2020. I had just landed in Maui, Hawaii for a week-long national industry conference. I had extended my stay and invited my daughter Lexi to join me to partake in the conference and to participate in the island's activities. It was an uneventful 9-hour flight, and we were anxious to get to our hotel, so we grabbed our bags, headed for the car rental agency, and stood in a long line. To pass the time, I pulled up my phone and I started to check emails. And one email in particular caught my attention. So I read it and I reread it. And then I turned to my daughter Lexi and I said, "We now get to enjoy a 10-day vacation together. Our conference was canceled while we were boarding our flight in Chicago." To which she responded, "No way! I am so glad you didn't see that email in Chicago, or we wouldn't be here." Thanks, kiddo. Didn't take us long to get into vacation mode, getting up early to watch the sunrise over Haleakala, walking the white sand beaches, and eating copious amounts of pineapple. Within a few days, the president declared a national emergency. I immediately called back to the office to check in with the leadership team. To no surprise, they were in contingency mode and taking action. I offered to be on the next flight home, to which they responded, "We've got this, just stay connected." Offense is the best defense. Our offensive strategies kicked into high gear. I called in once, sometimes twice a day, to figure out what our next steps would be. Our shop and field crews and service technicians continued to serve our customers, and our leadership team, managers, and a select few key personnel remained in the office. Being in the office day in and day out was a real game changer for us, as it built business continuity and connection with both our associates and our customers. We had to create a new travel policy. Could we jump on a flight to California or Florida to serve our customers nationwide? Could we drive to our customers? Could we cross the borders of Illinois or Minnesota, or did we need some sort of passport as states began to lock down? Could we find a place for our crews to rest their heads after a long day's work? I sent daily communications company-wide, relaying the CDC guidelines and state mandates and local requirements to keep our associates safe and to educate and inform them as more information became available about the virus. Jared and Craig, my COO and CFO, created 6 to 12 month financial scenarios to ensure the viability of the business. There was no playbook for how business leaders should react to a global pandemic, and yet, amidst the uncertainty, I felt a sense of peace, knowing that I had a unified leadership team that could tackle anything that came our way. My predecessors and I had worked over the years to build a family-oriented culture where we put people first, treat them like family, and live out our core values on a daily basis. I have 3 objectives that I'm going to share with you. The first objective is the challenges that we faced during COVID and how we overcame them. The second objective is to talk about the growth that we experienced as both an organization and a leadership team. And the third objective is to talk about how we were able to give back and take care of others. Offense is the best defense. Our offensive line was made up of our core values of safety, technical competence, integrity, respect for people, and customer focus. Everyone was challenged during the pandemic, and yet it's a matter of how you overcome those challenges and grow from the experience. Maui was the first challenge that we experienced. The Maui story was the first challenge that we experienced, and the leadership team's technical competence to overcome it. Our high-performing team was able to create calm during the storm for our associates and our customers, and yet we had many more challenges ahead of us. This demonstrated our first core value within our offensive line, technical competence. Second core value in our offensive line, safety. Kevin, a facility manager for a plastics manufacturer, had just experienced a critical incident with a confined space. His coworker, Joe, had climbed into a vault below the floor to perform preventative maintenance. There was a gas leak, and it was displacing the oxygen in that vault, creating a very dangerous situation. Joe was overcome by the gas and became unconscious, and his coworkers quickly reacted and were able to revive him, but Kevin never wanted to experience something like this again. He reached out to Corey, our safety director, and asked for his assistance in creating policies and procedures and to run simulations so that they could use monitoring equipment and rescue devices to ensure that Kevin and his team would be safe in the future. Jordan is our sheet metal journeyman who has a little 1-year-old girl named Grace. Grace wakes up every day with a zest for life and a smile on her face, and yet she has many challenges ahead of her. Grace has a low immune system and is on the National Registry for a liver transplant. Jordan travels the country to take care of our customers, and he was concerned about bringing this virus home to his little girl, Grace, because he would be traveling on airplanes and staying in hotels and eating at restaurants. He worked with Patty, our VP of HR, to adjust his schedule so that he could stay local, which would allow him to tuck Grace in every night and hug her when she wasn't feeling well, and to take her to doctor's appointments. And Jordan was able to protect Grace from the virus. These are just a few examples of our core value of safety. Safety is at the forefront of every single thing that we do, whether at home, on the job, or with our customers. We want every single one of our associates to go home at night in the same condition that they arrived in the morning. With 85 years in business, I look pretty good for 85, don't I? With 85 years in business, we've experienced many challenges, from a great recession to market fluctuations and now a global pandemic. Putting people first, keeping them safe, and rallying around the customer is what helped us overcome the challenges that we experienced during COVID. Our third core value in our offensive line is integrity. Integrity is choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain. I'm 10 years old, sitting in the middle of our dark green living room carpet, playing solitaire with my dad on a Saturday afternoon. My dad is a cool, calm, collected man. I'm highly competitive and I want to win. I pick up an ace and I slide it up my sleeve and he sees me. He stands up, he looks down at me with this disappointed expression on his face, and he says, "You cheated, we're done." And he walks out of the room. That was a defining moment in my life, and integrity is at the forefront and a non-negotiable in both my personal life and in my business. Even today, integrity is a core value in our offensive line that shows up in everything that we do. Bassett Mechanical is not willing to put its name on solutions without having proven effectiveness. As business owners were bringing back their employees to their office buildings and facilities, they wanted to ensure that it was a safe place to return to. And we were seeing products and solutions hit the market claiming to cure COVID or to address similar viruses to the COVID-19 virus, but there wasn't any supporting data. So we did our own testing. We adjusted the filtration system in our office. We installed a bipolar ionization unit, and we collected data for 2 weeks to ensure the efficacy of the solution that we were bringing to market and to our customers. Our reputation for doing what's right and not what's easy has served us for many years and will continue to be the mantra by which we conduct our business. Fourth core value in our offensive line, customer focus. Jake, a plant manager for a cheese processing facility, didn't know where to turn. He had just sent home his entire maintenance crew because they were either sick with the COVID virus or they were quarantining. He had no one to run his industrial ammonia refrigeration system, so he had to make a choice. Did he shut down his operation, or did he invite somebody in from the outside with all of the inherent risks that came with COVID? He called us, and our service technicians showed up on a daily basis for weeks on end to run their industrial ammonia refrigeration system to ensure that they could produce cheese and supply it to the grocer shelves. I, for one, was very thankful because I love cheese and it's a must-have in Wisconsin. Bassett service technicians and field crews are our unsung heroes on Bassett's front lines, taking care of our customers to ensure that food and beverage and toilet paper could be provided to meet our daily needs. Our core value of customer focus shined throughout the pandemic as our crews showed up every day to perform preventative maintenance and handle emergency calls and to coordinate COVID-related projects, such as for a healthcare customer for whom we designed a deployable medical unit, or for a chemical manufacturer who required ongoing preventative maintenance to ensure that their product could go into the vaccine, and for a meat processing facility whose emergency call to us with a failed compressor was of the utmost importance during the meat shortage. These are just a few examples of how we're achieving our vision to create customers for life. We grew as both a leadership team and an organization throughout the pandemic. The leadership team created offensive strategies to protect and keep our associates safe and to keep the doors open, and boy, were we put to the test. Our associates showed up every day with resiliency and adaptability to ensure that essential businesses could continue to operate. We not only survived COVID, we thrived. In 2020, we achieved record revenue levels, and in 2021, we're forecasting an even better year. The success of Bassett Mechanical can be attributed to our living out our core values that make up our family-oriented culture, supported by a high-performing leadership team and shop, field, and office associates that take care of our customers and our community. Fifth core value in our offensive line: respect for people. He may not be Irish, but Jim Becker may be the only U.S. football fan whose life was saved because of his passion for his team. 10 years ago, 80-year-old Becker was inducted into the Packers Fan Hall of Fame. Jim had a growing family of 11 children, and he had to scrape together money to pay for Packer tickets by donating blood, for which he received $15 a pint, which was plenty to cover the cost of the tickets. Becker's doctors told him that his years of donating blood may have dampened the effects of an undiagnosed blood disorder that took his father's life at the age of 43. Unbeknownst to Jim, as he was donating all these years, he was decreasing the excess iron in his blood that would have eventually taken his life from Celtic disease. Jim had to continue to donate more and more blood to obtain the Packer tickets, and then on top of it, he had to pay medical bills to have his blood drawn. But all of those years of donating would come back to him in more ways than one. In addition to being inducted into the Packers Fan Hall of Fame, he received $500 in merchandise credit, 4 club seats, and 2 tickets to an away game with accommodations and airfare included. His toughest decision, Jim said, with 11 children, it's going to be a tough choice to pick who's going with me to the game. Like Jim Becker saved his own life, we potentially saved 309 lives. We conducted 4 blood drives during the pandemic to support the local community bank. And boy, did it feel good to be able to give back in some small way to take care of others during that time, as volunteer opportunities were difficult to come by. In late April 2020, Jeff, our shop floor foreman, received a call asking if we would participate in a face mask campaign. Face masks were being made for frontline workers and emergency personnel, such as healthcare workers and grocery store workers, and they needed nose clips that would go into these masks. So Dylan, a high school student in our youth apprenticeship program, spent 8 hours shearing nearly 18,000 nose clips that were inserted into these masks to keep others in the community safe. And as an added benefit, Dylan was able to experience our culture of taking care of others. Our respect for people core value shined during the pandemic as we showed flexibility and care and compassion for our associates as they were working from home, juggling job responsibilities, and being their child's teacher and keeping each other safe. We strived to meet our promise of WADI, our We Answer to You promise to take care of our associates, our customers, and our community, and that's exactly what we did. As Roy T. Bennett said, focus on making choices to lead your life that aligns with your core values in the most purposeful way possible. Offense is the best defense. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, for that very inspiring message. I really enjoyed the part about the people focus. That was really neat, so thank you for sharing that. Our region is very fortunate to have many influential women leaders. Thank you for being a strong role model to so many, leading a family-owned company with multiple production locations across Wisconsin. Speaking of family-owned companies, throughout the last year, we witnessed private companies like Bassett Mechanical stepping up in a big way. Companies in Wisconsin's private sector play a key role in powering the state's economy and communities. We are proud to highlight companies in our region that made Deloitte's largest and most successful private companies through their 2020 Wisconsin 75 initiative. We thank Coalesce Marketing and Design for this production. This video is only a sampling of the companies that have gone above and beyond to get our region back during this road to recovery. There perhaps was not an industry that was more directly affected with the pandemic than healthcare. We thank Dr. Andrabi for his leadership, the weekly calls with CEOs, the launch of the Be Safe Wisconsin campaign, the vaccination clinics, and efforts under his leadership to keep his own people safe. Here to talk about the healthcare industry is our Defensive Player of the Year, Dr. Imran Andrabi, President and CEO of ThedaCare.
Good morning. Wow, I never thought that I'll see this happening in the middle of a pandemic. Almost 500 people without masks, shaking hands, some hugging as well. That's awesome. That's success. So thanks to all of you. As you can tell, I'm not from Wisconsin. That's not a joke, by the way. So I'm originally from Pakistan, grew up in a military family. My father was a one-star general in the Air Force and moved to this country about 31 years ago, spent 26 years in Ohio, and moved to this community about 4 years ago within a week of today. My very first meeting, June 17, 2017, was in the Vince Lombardi boardroom right here in this place. That's a signal of some sort. So I just have to say I have been extremely impressed with what all of you have been able to create in the communities that New North represents, and many, many communities that we are a part of as a healthcare organization. So as I moved here, and my daughter, who was a junior in high school, was in Ohio, and I told her, I said, finish your high schooling there, and then you can figure out where you want to go. She says, no, don't make a big deal out of this. I'm going to move with you. So she came here, and she finished her high school here, and now is a junior at University of Minnesota. So thanks to all of you for creating the community that you've created and made it easy for people like myself to be a part of this community. Which is what this conversation is all about. How do we partner with our community in a situation that we found ourselves that nobody expected? It was approximately 525 days ago to the day, December 31st, 2019, when the first COVID-19 case was detected in China. I mean, if you can calculate the number of hours times 525 and the amount of work that has gone on behind the scenes to be able to do what had to be done to take care of people across this region. And it's been a tremendous experience of service, of compassion, of love for the community, taking care of people both inside an organization and outside in our communities. And I just want to share a few highlights of that because I can't do justice to 525 days of work in 20 minutes. So I'll do a little bit of that. So our legacy starts about 110 plus years ago when Theda Clark Peters had a baby and died 3 days after that. And we didn't have any hospitals around. And that started the legacy of what is now ThedaCare and the work that we have been doing in our communities to serve. So that legacy continues to this day and was integral to what we were trying to do during the pandemic as well. So just to give you a glimpse of what ThedaCare is, we serve about 600,000 people in the region. In 17 counties, 7 hospitals, soon to be 8, 180 points of care, 7,000 team members, 1,100, maybe a few more providers, 3,000 nurses, and 60 specialties. Complex. But everybody wakes up every day singularly focused on making sure that we improve the health and well-being of the communities that we serve by empowering people to live their unique best lives. That's our mission. That's what we do. And so that why is really important, and Tim Moore was talking about this, and Kim was talking about this. Remembering the why, remembering your purpose every day when the going gets tough, the thing that gets you through is, why do we exist? Why are we here? What are we here to do? And we are here to serve our community. So I told you about how it all started, December 31st, 2019. That's where it started. And now it has added a chapter to our legacy in terms of not only going through a pandemic, but learning through a pandemic and understanding what can be possible. There was no playbook. There was not a book written 100 years ago with the Spanish flu as to how do you go about doing this. So we had to figure this out. So what we did was a lot of planning. We had to become agile, much more agile than we ever were. Communicate a lot, clarify things, create partnerships, both from a healthcare perspective and outside of healthcare as well, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And then talk about where are we going in terms of the two canoes and why that's important for all of us together. So plans are interesting, but you need to plan appropriately to be able to execute on something that is meaningful. And so very early on, this was January 15th when there was the first case of COVID in this country in Seattle, Washington. And we got all our team members together and said, it's just a matter of time. And so how do we create an incident command system where we are talking to each other at least 2 or 3 times a day and getting ready? Because we didn't know at that time that on February 5th of 2020, we will have the first case in Wisconsin show up, right? And then many of us have lived through what happened after that. And so we started talking about how are we going to get ready for creating the bed capacity that we will need to be able to take care of people as they potentially get COVID and get hospitalized. How are we going to staff up to make sure that we have the people to take care of folks when we need to? And at that time, there wasn't enough information in terms of the infectivity and what would actually happen to healthcare workers and what would happen to the community. And then we very quickly set up respiratory hubs where we were directing people to the respiratory hubs where they had those kinds of symptoms that were related to COVID so that we were not mixing them with folks that were coming into our primary care physician offices at the same time. As you can remember, personal protective equipment was a disaster early on. Everybody was scrounging all over the world to figure out how to get PPE. Ventilators, you remember that conversation, right? N95 masks, I remember calling people all around the country trying to figure out how to get N95 masks. Visitor restrictions. Then we created something called an online symptom checker, where people didn't have to actually come in or get in touch with people, but actually could go on an app and figure out if they had the symptoms and direct them directly into our respiratory hubs. So those were just some of the, as Kim said, offensive, defensive moves, right, to be able to get ahead of what we were trying to do. This is another example of what we were doing. We actually got our Chief Innovation Officer together with a gentleman from MIT and said, let's start figuring out, don't worry about the model, this is just an illustration. But an illustration of, we are not going to continue to have to stay behind the curve, we need to be ahead of the curve. So model this out in terms of how many people are going to get infected, how many beds are we going to need? How are we going to staff those beds? Where do the beds need to be? And so every day we had an update available to us from a modeling perspective that we could share with our team members, our physicians, so they could continue to think ahead of the game and make sure that they were ready and prepared and not sort of caught by surprise in terms of what we needed to do. And this was really important for us as we were planning for surges, and became critical particularly in the October timeframe, if you remember, where we had a really big surge in the region. So, as you all know, this is not the domain of healthcare, but agility in itself is a strategy. We thought, you know, it'll probably take us a year and a half to get all of our physicians before COVID to get on what's called now telehealth or video visits. 2 weeks. We had to do it in 2 weeks and get almost 500 physician providers on a video visit platform. And everybody was looking at each other and saying, well, this is not possible. Well, these are the times where the impossible becomes possible. And so there are many, many, many examples of where this kind of agility and adaptability had to occur within an organization to be able to pivot very quickly to meet the needs of the community. This is just a map of what was happening. We had the top rank in the country for the COVID outbreak back in October. All our hospitals were full at 100% capacity. We had quite a few people, that were infected. And so all that had to be taken into account in terms of how to take care of those folks, how to test them, how to make sure that we had enough beds available, how to make sure that we had enough beds available after somebody got discharged from the hospital into the community. That became an issue as well. So you could deal with what was within the four walls of what you were doing, but what do you do for a nursing home or extended care facility that you need to have people available? So what we found was, like I said, we were almost at 100% capacity. We had about, at one point, and my chief HR officer is right here, so she can correct me if I misspeak, 250 to 300 people calling off every day. A third of them being nurses who could not be at the bedside to take care of people, right? And so dealing with all of that, making sure that we first understood why, where were they getting infected, and what could we do to help them during that time frame. What we were finding is that the community had a 30% positivity rate. And majority of the infections, even for our caregivers, were actually happening in the community and not within the walls of our hospitals and clinics and areas where we were taking care of. So 30% in the community, 6 or 7% internally. So when they were there, people said many times, I feel the safest when it comes to COVID when I'm at work, and then when I'm outside of work, I get in contact with people sometimes, and that sort of messes things up, if you may. People delayed care. 55% of Americans in the last 15 months have not kept up with their chronic disease management, have not actually gone in and got their colonoscopies done and their mammograms done and some of the maintenance work, the preventative work that we need to do on a regular basis. That has an impact. So if you're not doing that, then our detection for certain things goes down. And not only does that have an impact in terms of the short term, but could have an impact from a long-term perspective as well. And so we had to figure out how to make it safe for people to come in and feel safe to get some of that work done during the pandemic, because safety was obviously our top priority during that time frame. Communication. The bridge between confusion and clarity. So a lot of communication, daily, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, incident command calls, daily leader calls, huddle notes, daily, weekly emails, videos, you name it. We had to be out and about because things were pivoting and shifting very, very quickly during this time, both within the organization as decisions were being made by the FDA, the CDC, and so on and so forth, the WHO, and we had to pivot all the time. And I heard that from our frontline folks. Okay, so we're going to do this today, and by noon today, things may change again. And now we have to pivot and do something very different. That's not normally how things get done in healthcare, by the way. Okay. So in terms of the community, we also had to keep the community informed, ensure that they knew what was happening, what to expect, how to stay ahead of it. Many, many, many conversations with the community members. Many conversations with school systems. I mean, we had superintendents from all of our schools together every week, once a week, having a discussion. We had community leader forums where we had 200, 300 people on a Zoom call, making sure that they knew what was the latest and greatest and what was happening in the community, just to keep them safe and prepared and ahead of the curve again, so that they are not surprised by what was going on. The same thing happened, when we got into testing and when we got into the vaccination phase, is to make sure that we communicated and over-communicated many times. That was extremely important. Nationally, this is not about me, by the way, we had to, when in October we had the surge, we had to sort of be on national television because everybody wanted to know what's going on in Wisconsin and what are we doing about it. So we had to have those conversations as well. We became a part of national campaigns, so we could make sure that we were talking about masking and the effectiveness of masking and why it was important to continue to do the things that we have now understood to be really, really important. This is the thing that I really want to highlight first and foremost in this entire conversation is the thing that we all realized very quickly is this was not a healthcare issue to solve. This was a community issue to solve. And the more we went upstream and had conversations with the community and got singularly focused on what was important, we would come up with solutions in terms of how to be able to take care of this pandemic. So I think there were about 85 different agencies and not-for-profits that we actually were working with every week, trying to figure out everything from how to feed people, how to take medications to elderly who we did not want to leave their homes and be out and about and potentially exposed, how to get food and groceries delivered, what to do with our nurses who didn't want to go home and infect their children, as Kim said, right, and give them a respite. So we contacted multiple hotels across this region and said, we're going to take care of it, take care of our folks so that they feel safe. Childcare became an issue early on, right? So the nurse would say, oh, I can come in, but what about my children? And so the YMCAs and the United Ways, the Boys and Girls Club, they all came together and said, yes, even though we are all shut down, but we'll bring our people in and help you take care of the childcare needs of the frontline worker. That's what communities are all about. So I don't think for a moment that we are where we are because we in healthcare did phenomenal work. We are where we are because we all came together and helped each other out get through this pandemic in terms of where we are today. So you can applaud for yourselves because you all have done a tremendous job in helping us do what we are here to do. These are some pictures of people coming forward. These ventilators were actually donated by an individual who came forward and said, I have access, I'll pay the dollars, and here are the ventilators for your ICU. So there are obviously agencies, there are not-for-profits, there are for-profits, there are individuals who stepped up and helped during this process. Be Safe Wisconsin was another initiative to sort of create a coalition of people who could understand what was going on and how to come together on a regular basis to help each other stay safe and continue to move forward. So 1 foot in 2 canoes. Let me just say that from my perspective, And I'm not the CDC and I'm not the expert, so please, this is one person's opinion. I am a family physician and have practiced for over 3 decades. I would say that kudos to all of us for doing what we have done and coming where we are today, and that we have to figure out a way to celebrate where we are and to learn how to live with this lingering issue of COVID that's going to be here for a little while, just to be very straightforward about it, okay? I don't think that we are probably going to end up in a situation where we were in the past, but it's not gone yet, and it may take a little while. So that both and is going to be really, really important as we move forward. I just want to finish with this video. So am I going to? This is an example of what we call a code happy, when a patient with COVID got admitted to the hospital and then was discharged. And we would bring people, ask them to come and celebrate. And here is our 100th patient, Mr. Edward, who was discharged from the hospital. And we had 1,731 code happies in the last 15 months. So in closing, I would just say thanks to all of you for what you have given to us to be able to serve you all better. We've learned a tremendous amount in this process. We have become a better organization going through this. We've learned a lot. Going back is not an option. I say that a lot in our organization. Taking the learnings that we've learned and moving forward is certainly what we are going to continue to do. And as ThedaCare, we thank all of you for your help and your perseverance and your ability to be partners with us, to be able to take care of the community in the best possible way. And I look forward to continuing to serve all of you and partner with you so that we can continue to figure out this both and of the COVID world and opening our economy and really moving forward. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So thank you, Dr. Andrabi. We are incredibly grateful for your leadership. We're grateful for all the healthcare workers. We're also grateful for all the companies and the community for coming together during this pandemic. I think it's just the moment to pause. Wow. We heard from offensive, we heard from defensive. So one of the things that has happened, I guess, during this pandemic is that our companies are used to adult apprenticeships, but we also have what is called youth apprenticeship. It's a Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development program, and it's very well known in healthcare with nurses. It's also very well known with electrical and mechanical, in welders, as Ann was saying. But it wasn't so known in IT. And here in Northeast Wisconsin, we have a very concentrated effort to bring computer science education to all youth in the New North region. And with this comes some great stories. And so today, we've put 2 short videos together in behalf of the youth and the companies in this room that are bringing the youth into their work environments, because this is our future talent.
Heartland Business Systems is the largest privately owned IT consulting company in the Midwest. We are located in Little Chute, Wisconsin. Heartland Business Systems is new to the Youth Apprenticeship Program. We just started it this year. We had our first Youth Apprentice, Kung Lee, start this past summer. We were connected with Dawn from CISA 6 and the TEALS program through Microsoft.
The folks at the Youth Apprenticeship Program brought forward a few candidates for us, and we did interviewing, just like we would do with anybody that we would entertain to come and be part of HBS. And Kung was a standout in that.
I first got excited about a youth apprenticeship when I realized that I really wanted to go into a computer science path. And I remember there being an opportunity at my school from a TEALS and youth apprenticeship provider. And I thought, hey, I could take upon this opportunity and see what I can do.
We don't treat Kung any differently than any intern. Even though he is in high school, we treat him just like a regular intern. There's two things we do with interns. One, we teach them what it's like to work in the real world. And then two, they help us delight our clients, so they're actually providing service to our clients. And Kung has done a magnificent job of that. We couldn't be happier with this experience.
He's getting hands-on experience in the software and web app team, so he is truly working with a mentor and getting hands-on experience that he wouldn't get inside of a school.
This youth apprenticeship as a whole has been super fun, super educational. I've learned so much about what it's like to be an actual computer science engineer in the real workforce, and I'd say that's really extremely valuable for me.
He has been able to take the skill set knowledge that he's learned through his computer science classes at Hortonville High School and grow them within the work experience that he has here. And he definitely feels that he is going to be able to take that knowledge and experience and enhance his college education.
We're committed to this program. This has been a great experience. We see value in it, and it's just another channel for our future talent here at HBS. We're very excited about it.
It's a great experience. Not only is it learning more about the pathway you want, but also learning what it's like to work in the real workforce around people, professionals, and overall, it's a fun time.
Green Bay Packaging is a family-owned company. We've been in business since 1933. We started as a box company making wooden boxes and have evolved to a fully sustainable company where we have everything from forest to mill to production of the box and recycling again back to make new boxes.
The youth apprenticeship experience has been very useful to our team. It has helped us to take some of our workload and put it onto somebody else and help him also learn a little bit more about the world of IT.
Some of the work I'm doing here is I've done imaging computers, some data transfer. I've put in hard drives and RAM into computers, and I've had a bunch of other opportunities.
We like to kind of spread it out to help them to really truly find what they want to do in IT and really assure that that's the area that they want to go.
For me, that the broader spectrum worked very well because I got to see all the different paths and realized I liked a lot of these different paths. So I decided to go into computer science so that I could explore every path of computers.
Each student comes into youth apprenticeship for their own reason, but and their own purpose. But I really feel that the connection of the classroom and to the employment setting, putting those connections together is the benefit. Like students have that aha moment, like, oh, I learned that in class, and wow, look at, I do it in the professional world.
There was certainly moments where I thought, hey, I've learned this in the classroom. I can use this to build upon this to essentially get the program to work the way I wanted to, or get the report I want to come out. Some of the stuff you learn in the textbook, you think, how would I ever use this? And then you get in there and you realize that's the base for everything else you do.
Two things that made the youth apprenticeship successful for Green Bay Packaging was the culture fit that we got with the candidates, and also the technical fit. So we got an individual that could come in and pick up our technology that we have here and get off to a running start.
It's been a great learning opportunity for our entire team up here that we start working with youth, because a lot of time you get used to working with colleagues of the same generation, and now to be able to bring in a future generation and mold them has just been a great opportunity.
I think we give off a good experience for the kids, and we do try and bring in interns and bring people back year after year, and eventually try and bring them on board as full-time employees. So I think it kind of follows the model that we like to go with at Green Bay Packaging. It's a very good marketing opportunity for us.
I'm definitely proud of how all the youth apprenticeship worked and the experience I've gotten.
So I want to give a special thanks to Heartland Business Systems, Green Bay Packaging, Secure Insurance. Microsoft Teals has been in our region now for 5 years, and it is amazing what they're doing. Amy Byers is here. She doesn't just lead our Microsoft Teals program. She also leads the computer science talent ecosystem with CISA 7. So thanks, Amy and Jeff Dickert, for all that you do in our community. So that brings us now to our special teams. As manager of Microsoft TechSpark Wisconsin and as the co-chair of the New North, I was extremely proud when Barb asked me to be part of the special teams and make this introduction. COVID-19 has brought record unemployment. We've all seen it. In June 2020, Microsoft announced our Global Skilling Initiative. This is the first time that Microsoft and LinkedIn had ever come together and opened up LinkedIn Learning for free. And the goal was to help those most affected by COVID-19 get the digital skills they need for in-demand jobs here in our community. And I knew if I didn't act fast, we would miss the boat on this whole announcement. I reached out to Barb at the New North and I said, how do we help? How do we help with the unemployment rates here in Northeast Wisconsin? And so Barb quickly assembled a team and we brought in nationally ranked startup accelerator Generator and created what is known today as Generator Upskilling. This program focuses on unemployed and underemployed individuals here in Northeast Wisconsin, helping them gain digital skills through LinkedIn Learning and secure jobs in our companies, not just here in Northeast Wisconsin, but nationally. And this is done 100% virtually. Our participants receive intensive coaching, resume writing, and interview skills. We ran 2 cohorts in customer service and sales and a 3rd cohort in IT administration. Microsoft TechSpark provided the seed funding to kick off this program. And I want to thank the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and Thrivent Foundation for their financial support in the Northeast Wisconsin cohorts. So I was honored today when Barb asked me to present with Joe Kyrgyz, the co-founder of Generator, on the Generator Upskilling Program. First developed here and launched in Northeast Wisconsin, and now is spreading across the United States to 5 other communities. Joe, will you please join me here on stage? So I've been on stage a lot today, and so you might be getting sick of hearing from me, but I'm here. I'm part of Microsoft's philanthropies team. And it's a little bit more unique than, when I first came to town, everybody's like, oh, you're from Microsoft. What are you selling? And I hope that over the last 4 years in being here that we've proven that we're really here and we're committed to the community here in the New North region. And I think generator upskilling is one of those pieces to that puzzle that are so important. And so Joe, would you just take a moment and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you all for having me. My name is Joe Kurgis. 9 years ago, my co-founder and I started a company, Generator. Our mission is we strive to be the best partner for communities to invest into themselves. We think communities that are the most passionate about their next generation are the ones who will thrive. And the vision is, how can we be a partner in creating transformational community wealth, new leaders, and outcomes that communities are really proud of. We really started the company as a love letter to home. We started in Milwaukee and Madison. We've now grown to over 75 full-time employees across 28 cities, ranging from Anchorage, Alaska, to San Juan, Puerto Rico, to the Duchy of Luxembourg, which is actually from Northeast Wisconsin descendants. But we run programmings in startup, art, and music. We put participants through those programs into an accelerator. And the best way I can describe an accelerator, and I think it'll be relevant to what upskilling does, is it creates community that facilitates new leaders creating something from nothing. To give a vivid example, our very first investment was in a company at the time called Badger Bites. It's now called Eat Street. And Matt Howard, the CEO and founder, is from Larson, Wisconsin, which is about 10 minutes from Appleton. His dad owns a machine shop in Appleton. And he was at Madison, and there was no way to get food. So you're writing a $20,000 check from our accelerator into sort of a pretty nascent dream. When we first helped the company enroll in the accelerator, we wanted to help them do things like get a legal entity and figure out how to get employees. One of the very first things we did was help them get some customers. They did free chicken at A8 China, and they blasted the whole UW-Madison student list and offer for free chicken, which we realized was a mistake after the fax machine required 1 minute to print an order, and we were getting 20 orders per minute. And we had to quickly figure out, while half the team was making chicken, the other half was rewriting the code to send the orders to email. But from there, the company has expanded to over 250 full-time employees at the headquarters and 3,000 employees across the country. And as an accelerator, our job is to be their first partner. We're almost always the initial partner, the exclusive partner, and we're there to say, we see you, we believe in you, we think you can do great things, and how can we help? And so as we've grown the company now, that love letter keeps getting longer. We expanded into art and music. Our flagship program in music, for example, we run a Motown accelerator with the museum and the brand. But our goal the whole time is, how do you help a community facilitate and empower itself to invest into its people? And how do we create tools that enable groups like New North and Microsoft to have these new avenues for supporting people in their community? And it's just been a tremendous privilege.
I know it's been a pleasure working with you, Joe, in so many avenues. And you just said, how do we help? Yeah. And COVID-19 hit, and it really halted everybody's game. The game needed to quickly change here in Northeast Wisconsin, and special teams needed to be brought in. Take that moment, and what did that mean to Generator?
Yeah, for us, and I know you guys as Microsoft and New North, I know everything was changing in Bell and Health, the hospital, everything was so crazy. The previous speaker talked about that March 10th date. And we wanted to create a tool at that March 10th time for our founders to get access to help. What was the economic injury disaster loan, and what was payroll protection? And so we created a program, an emergency response program for the graduates of our program that will open it to the community. And one of our partners, for example, is the state of Indiana. I'm proud here to serve on the WDC board. So I had similar discussions with Missy in a different capacity, but it was a crazy time. And the state of Indiana said, oh, that's great, you guys are helping your founders with that. We're also gonna send the businesses calling our agency to you. And it was like, okay, we need to, like you said, change the game. And so fast forward over 2 months, 45 people from our team volunteered on 14 emergency response programs. We didn't get paid for any of it, they were just volunteering. And 6,000 small businesses and nonprofits participated. Our team did over 4,000 phone calls. And we added, once we got done with that, we added another 1,400 musicians and artists and did a separate program. But we realized when we did that things had changed. I think all of us are viewing what happened through the lens of our own experience. For us, we had rented 5 stadiums that summer, and we're going to facilitate meetings between large corporations and startups in Indiana and Nebraska. We put the down payments down. We had arranged people, we had 1,000 people flying into an insurance conference in Minneapolis in early April. And my joke is, if you ever want to watch paint dry, please come to our insurance party. But we had to figure out how to unwind that. So I remember as we were basically deleting those websites and taking those conferences down, creating the websites for people to sign up and get help. And I still hadn't really jolted out of viewing it through my own lens. And when we got the first applications coming in, that was when it really scared me, because I remember sitting at my house looking, and usually it's very hopeful when people apply, and it was people saying, I can't make payroll, I don't know, like I'm a solo contractor and I don't have money for groceries. And it was unlike any other experience in my life. And at that point I knew, our plans for stadiums were over, and that we were going to be entering I was going to enter a new phase in my career. Our team was going to have the same event, and things needed to change very fast.
Well, thank you for all that you did during that. And, when it came to June 2020, and Barb and I were talking, and we're like, we need to engage, and we need to engage quickly. How do we digitally skill people? And so we had reached out to Joe and said, Joe, how does this look like? Is there a way to take this accelerator model and bring it to skilling? What were you thinking when Barb and I reached out to you with this crazy idea?
I was thinking, so it was June, we had just completed our emergency response program, and I remember thinking, I'm gonna have a drink. Our team, we felt like, and I think everyone felt this way, we didn't want to be as small as the pandemic was making us feel. And you wanted to do something in your own way to help. And after that experience in May and June, I think we felt like we needed something more to do. And I was so relieved when you called that we could do something more. And I remember you and Barb, startups are built to move quickly, and usually we get frustrated when people don't move fast and as fast as our culture moves. And I remember you and Barb said, we want to do this. We want to do an upskilling program. And I remember thinking, what is an upskilling program? And we want it in 3 weeks. And I remember thinking, 3 weeks, that's that's a new. And the challenge was that Microsoft had released a Global Skills Initiative, which was a set of learning paths from LinkedIn Learning in the 10 most in-demand jobs in America. And Microsoft was looking for a way to help 25 million people, which was a global scale challenge. I think in the US we were down like 14 million jobs at that point. And they were looking for ways to enable people to use these online skills in a remote work, virtual environment, upskill into the most in-demand jobs in America. And the theme that you and Barb really drove home was that the crisis moves faster than the rules, and we're gonna need to go quickly. So get in gear and build it. And we went to our team and said, I know I just asked all 45 of you to work full-time in one of the most stressful periods of your life on top of your existing jobs, and I need to do it again. Will you help us build this program from scratch for unemployed and underemployed people whose jobs were impacted by COVID to participate in this online learning path to get a micro-credential over 4 or 5 weeks in one of the top 10 most in-demand jobs in America? And I think 8 people said, I'll do it again. And to my dying day, I'll be grateful to them. And our team pulled together with you and Barb. We did a weekly call with everyone's team, a daily call, the first part, a call to help everything from bringing in, we were doing sessions with the constituents across New North to help spread the word that this program was available, and asking people to refer people whose lives had been impacted. I remember we were recruiting at motels and fast food restaurants, anywhere we could, to let people know that they could do this, and just kicked it off. We had 3 weeks, and I remember being very anxious that no one would show. That they would be like, what is this? I don't want to do it. And we got on, and it's on Microsoft Teams and all Microsoft properties. We got on the first Microsoft Teams meeting, and I remember thinking, oh, this is going to work. These people want to do it. And this community of people who want to improve their lives is willing to engage with us from scratch effort. And that was when I got really excited about it.
So when you say these people want to engage, talk about some of the metrics that go through these 3 cohorts. And
yep.
I guess you can even talk about whether it's just Northeast Wisconsin metrics or even national.
Yeah, so what happened, and we'll talk more about it, but the program, people enroll, they get invited to an opening kickoff event, and they get a set of programming. So we'll customize a curriculum. A lot of people are moonlighting, they're working, they have commitments, and we'll give them a schedule of lunch and learns where they come in to talk about things like how to prep your resume or get career coaching for an interview, while we're measuring their ability to complete these online certificates. You know, how do we help you and answer questions and support you, and what's a time frame to do that? We've been able, for everyone who enrolls, 79% of graduates are completing, which if you're familiar with the micro-credentialing world and online programming, that's a really great completion rate. Of the people who came into the program, over 60% were unemployed. It was like 64%. Over 50% were unemployed longer than 6 months. And what we found was a lot of people, their spouses maybe have lost their job, and so they were trying to come back into the workforce to balance out the income. So maybe not unemployed in the technical sense, but unemployed in just traditional. And the impact was they loved the community. And what we discovered was the difficulty in going to a new career is as much about the certificate and the technical knowledge as the culture. You know, I can't deal with blood. If you asked me to work at Theta Care, I would be very spooked. And it's a very similar challenge when you go from a retail world to a digitally enabled job, or from just the culture you know in your existing profession to one that seems very foreign to you. There can be a lot of things that intimidate you about that. And being in that same accelerator community that we do for our startup founders or our artists or musicians of, we see you, we think it's totally healthy you have those feelings, and we think we're gonna work with you to get to a better place. That was some of the most rewarding 5 or 6 weeks of my career. And then seeing those people graduate, you know, that's been great. 64% of the first 2 cohorts got a job out of the program. So we were able to almost completely flip the employment numbers in and out. And what we're proud of is a lot of those people were entering the workforce for the first time since 2019 or 18. We were able to help them get back in the workforce and in a new profession. And it's been one of the most rewarding parts of my career to see from beginning to end, you know, that it really can hold true.
You know, I was part of the graduations August, December 2020, and then the most recent one here in May of 2021. And I mean, there were people that had caps and gowns on. I mean, they were so excited, and for some of them, they were like, this was the best thing for them, and we're like, it's all virtual, like you're not even seeing people. It doesn't get so much better. And so, you know, can you tell us like some of the stories of the people? For example, I know Rochelle was captured by Good Morning America, and I'm sure there's more stories.
Yeah, just I think what really I can't drive home enough. I read a lot about this in the paper and in online publications. You know, what's going on in the unemployment markets, and I think I feel like I see so many experts on it who I'm not sure they've ever actually talked to the people they're opining about. And to give an example of someone who really touched my life, Rochelle, who you mentioned, was working a temp job going into COVID. She's a single mom, and the temp job was eliminated. And while that's happening, her mother's battling brain cancer, and she's the caregiver, and she's caring for her nephew. So she's got her own family, she has her nephew, and she's a caregiver, and she's lost her job. And I cannot imagine, again, going to when people apply to the program, I thought the previous speaker, Tim, who talked about, you know, what it's like for people to be vulnerable like that. Like, I'm a proud person. I can't imagine having to come into a program and just talk about that and how brave that is, and how much we need to give the benefit of the doubt and meeting that vulnerability back. And she came in and completed the certificates. She talked so much about what it meant to be in a community and to feel like there were people joining her in this process. And what I loved about it is she got a job at Eat Street, which was our first investment I talked about as the first company we ever had through our program. So Matt Howard, I called him and said, we're building this program. We're a little, you know, everyone's in the boat as we're in the water, and it's a little wet. Can you consider hiring from it? He was the first person, and Rochelle was who he hired for a customer sales role. Fast forward a month or two, and I woke up, and Rochelle was on Good Morning America with Microsoft, encouraging others to come into the program. And what's so important is for people to know this program's available. It's free. You can go in and get one of these credentials in 5 weeks. And you can enter a program that's going to introduce you to dozens of potential job placements and get you hired. And I think we're so proud of Rochelle. I'll also add Molly Fitzgerald is here, is also one of the graduates. I thought maybe Molly could stand and we could give Molly a round of applause because I think she's very brave and we're very grateful to her. Molly, if you're here. And the people on the slide, if when we came up, those are the actual graduates of the program. So I think if I could say how this program has changed me, you know, as we're looking at, I think we debate a lot about the policies that go into how we solve some of the difficult challenges our community faces. And I wish we talked more a bit about the products and what it is that we're willing to do to create community to support the people most in need. And I just can't say enough about New North and Microsoft and Thriving and the Stricker Foundation for giving this napkin idea a chance and moving as fast as the crisis in such a scary time.
Oh, well, thanks, Joe. You know, if you had one ask for all the companies here in the room, what would it be?
We're insatiable in terms of we want you in the program. So if we can have you as mentors in the program, as career coaches, you know, one of the graduates' favorite activities is having someone come in and do a mock interview with them, and obviously the placements. And I'll say, you know, Michelle had said that it's up to 5 communities, and it'd tell you how fast it's changing. With Microsoft, the Northeast Wisconsin pilot in August has scaled to, we'll be announcing our 11th community. The program is only 8 months old. There are 174 graduates of that program in 8 months. We've run 3 cohorts in Northeast Wisconsin with 54 graduates. Over half have been placed, and one just graduated 2 weeks ago. So those placement numbers will continue to rise. But as you're looking at how you can engage, we're on track to have over 600 graduates this year, ranging from Anchorage, Alaska to Florida. And we need people who are interested in hiring and supporting us as we're trying to escalate what we can do as a community to empower ourselves to support them.
You know, I want to say thank you, Joe, for bringing a special team here to Northeast Wisconsin and creating something that I really hope will be something that, one, the employers see valuable in hiring this new talent and keeping all this moving forward. Thank you.
It's been one of the great honors of my life. Thank you all for inviting us to join in this incredibly scary time on such important work. Thank you, Barb, New North, Michelle. And if I could get you all an open bar at lunch, I would, but they said hard no. So thank you all, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank
you, Michelle.
So you've heard a lot today. You've heard a lot of New North initiatives, but wait, there's always more. Please help me welcome Barb back to stage for a brief President's Update.
Thank you, everyone. I know you've been sitting a really, really long time, and I promise you we're on the 10-yard line, and we've got really great things in store, so just hang in there for us a little bit longer. Thank you, Michelle. I first want to express my sincere gratitude for our board of directors who provide great direction and vision for the organization. The board members are identified in the program, so please also extend our appreciation for all of their efforts in strengthening our organization and region. A thank you to our investors. As I like to say, no money, no mission. With that you have witnessed thus far, we hope you can see how your investment is being leveraged all throughout Northeast Wisconsin. Thank you to our community partners, and last but certainly not least, our great New North team. Rebecca Duchesne, Vice President of Talent Development, Barbara Koldros, Vice President of Business Development, Renee Torzala, Vice President of Marketing and Investor Relations, Lori LaPratte, Office Manager. She has the hardest job because she keeps me out of trouble. Lori is actually celebrating her 10th work anniversary this Sunday, so thank you, Lori. Matthew Chrisman, Director of Research and Technology, and Kim Iverson, Executive Director of the New Digital Alliance. Let's give them all a round of applause. In keeping with our sports theme, if our team had a walk-up batting song throughout this past year, it may be Queen's song, Under Pressure. You know, do 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 under pressure. Actually, no, I think it would be more like Can't Stop Us Now. My goal for success is to hire people who are much smarter than me. I am so incredibly grateful for all of their talents. You know, they hear me say in the office, improvise, adapt, overcome. I say that frequently. When Mark this morning talked about his father and pearls of wisdom, I miss my father every day. And he used to say things like that. And those have stuck with me. I think that's actually a Clint Eastwood slogan out of a Western movie that my dad and I were watching. But yet he would say something so profound like that, and then we'd be talking to a gentleman that would walk away, and my dad would say, "Oh, that guy, he talks like a sausage." And it's like, Dad, what does that even mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know if that's a pearl of wisdom or not. I also wish to acknowledge Connie Loden, who recently retired from our New North organization. Connie, we thank you so much for your contributions to our organization and so incredibly grateful that you are staying in the region. Let's give her a round of applause to show our appreciation. We are also supported by Jeff Blum of our public relations team. With all the great news that has come out of our region, we have certainly kept Jeff incredibly busy. We are thankful to Coalesce Marketing and Design. As you probably noticed, we have ramped up our marketing and branding committee under Bob DeCook's leadership over this past year. And Todd with Coalesce has been such an integral part of all of that. You know, Todd has such a very calm demeanor. It doesn't matter what the request is. It's always like, Barb, I've got that, not to worry. You know, I feel like I should call him in situations not even related to work, like when I didn't take the bag of giblets that were stuffed in a turkey, and I baked the turkey, and the family was over, and I called Todd to say, am I going to kill my family? Can I serve this turkey with the stuff inside? And he's like, yeah, you've got this, Barb. You've got this. This past pandemic year has tested our fortitude. But I think you will all agree that we have passed that test. To quote Vince Lombardi, the measure of who we are is what we do with what we have. Because of your investment and involvement, besides prioritizing recovery efforts, we were able to execute on several new initiatives. We created the Talent Hub that navigates resources to address the underserved, the unemployed, skill gaps, provides intel on in-demand careers. It connects employers to industry alliances like ANDS and ways to attract, retain, and train talent. Our talent development is led by Mary Goggins of Encapsis and Kathy Seifert. We launched Mission Wisconsin, New North's Hires Heroes campaign, which enables increased visibility and employment opportunities for well-trained American heroes and their families to call the New North region their home. We created the New Launch Alliance under Tim Feldhausen's leadership to create a more connected, robust, resourceful, productive entrepreneurial ecosystem. A strong strategy for this region's recovery is led by creative business ideas that are turned into companies, especially in digital technology. As a part of the Alliance, for example, a team of corporate innovators from various companies in our region have come together to share ideas, to mentor entrepreneurs, and enhance our entrepreneurial reputation. Business pitch idea contests were hosted and new forms of capital developed. We have several of our pitch winners here today. We are also part of the Green Bay Packer Mentor Protege program. My protege this year is Julie Guile of Julie M. Guile Photography. Julie is here today capturing all of these moments. If there's one thing I've learned being a mentor in this program is that it certainly is a two-way street. Julie has taught me a lot. Thank you, Julie. We're so proud of you. We launched our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Task Force to address being a more welcoming community for all and providing opportunities for increased wealth. We had an incredibly busy year. From chief diversity officers banding together to identify ways in which the region can better recruit and retain diverse talent, the expansion of the CEO Leadership Pledge. These are led by Darcy Pearson of Oshkosh Corporation and Irene Strobing. The work with our entrepreneurs to bring an accelerator to the region with seed capital provided by WEDC and a local partner, and you'll learn more about that next week. The work with our young professionals on fully engaging diverse talent of all ages. The work with the African Heritage, and Sabrina, you are here and we thank you so much to help us expand the Professionals of Color Association and the Emerging Leaders Program. And the help to build the capacity of the Color Bold Business Association. And Mia, I know you're here today too. We worked with Ina. Ina's here with Wisconsin Procurement Institute and the African Heritage, where we will be doing business certification training this coming fall to help build wealth among all. We're promoting community efforts such as the LinkedIn Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging learning modules and badging certificates, and the 21-day and the 21-week Equity Challenge. And our work continues within our K-12 system to make our talent feel welcome and connected. After all, this is where it all starts. We are incredibly grateful to Tim Moore for a production of a video that he previously did that demonstrates the power of inclusion and understanding with our youth. And we're going to show that to you now.
Hi, my name is Tim Moore, and I'm the CEO of Diamond View, a video agency in Tampa, Florida, focused on using video as a force for good. I'm excited to be with you guys on June 10th as we look at what is the higher calling for business. I think we've learned so many great lessons this year that businesses aren't called just for products and services. They're made to live out values and purpose. The stories we tell today really do shape the world that we live in tomorrow. When we look at what is the new north, the higher calling, the bigger purpose of local economies in the community, I think right now we have a choice of a lifetime. This should be 5 rows of 5. Okay.
Cameras are speeding.
Come on in.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi, what's your name?
Kyla.
Hi, Kyla.
My name's Kevin.
I am Miss Corley, so it's nice to meet you, Sean. What's your name?
Paisley.
Hi, Paisley. High five. Do you have any idea what we're going to do today?
I have no idea.
No idea.
No.
Well, this is the choice of a lifetime.
Woo!
Do you know what that means? No.
No, I don't.
Well, how about if you could choose your full school experience from this point forward?
Yeah.
I love it, right?
Yeah,
Me
that's
too.
cool.
Okay. What color would you like your classroom to be?
Orange?
Pink, obviously.
This color.
That color? This one? Mm-hmm. Now, Kyla, what if I told you you get to choose your class schedule?
Recess. Lunch. Recess.
Recess, okay.
I want recess again. More lunch and recess.
Wow. Are you ready to choose some friends? You can pick as many friends as you want. Who would you like to select?
I think that's all.
That's it? Okay, so let's put those friends here. Now, how about some traits or characteristics of these people, right? All right.
Funny. I want silly, but I also want sociable.
What's that one?
Friendly.
Wow, cool. let's turn over these traits and let's see what they look like.
Oh, okay.
So, now that you see the friends you selected by what they look like here, and then you have friends based on what's on the inside, would you like to add any of these friends to your classroom?
Add them.
At first you didn't pick these people because we just looked at the picture. And now that you know what their traits are, you want to add them to your classroom.
Yeah. It really doesn't matter about how they look, it's just their personality, so I bet these are all really good people.
Do you think it feels good for everyone to be included? Yeah?
Yes.
You know, it's interesting because I, growing up, was always the one that didn't get picked at first because people thought I was really shy and I was quiet, and even though I was really outgoing, you know, people bully you sometimes. And I never got picked to be in the group because I was different. Right? What do you think about that?
I think that I should have gave these people a second chance, no matter what they looked like on the outside, but on the other side. It doesn't matter what they look like because at the end, they have their own personalities and their own traits.
You know what's cool? You are a superstar because you have the choice every day to invite people into your group and include them every day. So it's gonna be a fun school year, right? It's cool. Oh, you know what? I have one more surprise for you. Do you want to see what it is? Oh, okay. Ready? All right, grab your bag. All right, let's go this way.
I don't know, because I didn't expect it coming, I don't know, to get covered with that, so I was just surprised. It showed me that, no matter how different people are, they can be cool.
You have a best friend?
I have a couple best friends.
Can I be your other best friend?
Yeah!
Thank you so much, Tim. That video gets me every time I watch it. We recently received a federal EDA grant to address broadband accessibility. This will help our communities to be better prepared. It is critically important that all parts of our region have affordable, accessible broadband. We will be working with our 18 counties to map deficiencies and identify solutions, thus making it more compelling for implementation funding, which would be the logical next step. We thank Outagamie County's, their Development and Land Services Department, and the Basic Needs Giving Partnership comprised of Oshkosh, Green Bay, and Fox Valley Community Foundations in helping us with the cash match. We created the Intel Tracker through our Business Intelligence Council to provide visual data and trends to assist the region with data-driven decision-making. We held 2 economic intel events with St. Norbert College and the Department of Revenue. As over $70 billion of economic impact comes out of our region, we are critical as to how the state aligns its budget and pays for public resources. We introduced the More You in New campaign. This change allowed us to better align with the state's marketing efforts and put the emphasis on the reasons an individual should decide to locate to our region. To highlight region-wide efforts in getting us back on the pandemic, we created the Resiliency and Investors Appreciation video, which identifies examples of what organizations have done to get us back on the road to recovery. You know, it's all about telling our story. All of these resources are available on our website, or please reach out to any of our team members to talk to you more about these and how you can get further engaged. Our economic recovery is due in large part as to how local communities across our 18 counties responded. Sometimes in life, you just need to hold hands a little tighter, and we did that this last year. I am so incredibly thankful and proud of our local partners. They've heard me say this over and over again. You cannot have a strong region without strong local communities. We produced a short video to highlight a sampling of development projects in 2020. Large and small, we are so proud of them all. We thank Coalesce Marketing and Design for this production. Let's give our local partners a round of applause. We're 18 counties, one community, driven by compassion, determination, and innovation. We have no doubt that we are emerging as an even stronger, united region. Thank you. Okay, we are on the 10-yard line, folks. To bring us into the end zone, we are pleased to have Governor Tony Evers with us today. As a lifelong educator, the governor believes in bringing people together to solve the problems facing our state and putting the people of Wisconsin first. He began his career in 1976 and has served Wisconsin students, parents, and citizens all over Wisconsin, in Tomah, Oakfield, Verona, and Oshkosh. Born and raised right here in our region, in Plymouth, Governor Evers graduated from Plymouth High School and earned his bachelor's, his master's, and his doctorate degree in education administration from the University of Madison. Please help me welcome our governor, Governor Tony Evers.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for inviting me to be here today. Yes, I am born and raised in Plymouth, Wisconsin, which is the cheese capital of the world, in case anybody asks you. I know there's always going to be arguments here, but believe me, we have a big cow downtown, and we are the cheese capital of the world. So it's a treat to be here today to talk about our state's economic recovery and this dynamic region, as you just saw here at Lambeau Field and all across our state. And also Lambeau Field being one of our state's most popular vision of success and perseverance. And if there's anything this past year has taught us, is that Wisconsin perseveres. Wisconsin continues to be a national leader in getting available shots in arms. But in this case, we need to run up the score. Here in Wisconsin, we look out for our neighbors and care for one another, and at the end of the day, no matter who you are or where you live, getting vaccinated is about taking care of your community, and it's the most impactful way each of us can contribute to Wisconsin's statewide recovery. All of the approved vaccines, they're safe, effective, available, at absolutely no cost to you. So if you haven't done so already, go to vaccines.gov and find a vaccine place nearby and get it done. And if you have friends and neighbors, take them along, get that shot for them too, and let's get this done finally. And as shots get in arms and across the state, we begin our recovery from COVID-19. While we're doing this, it's time for Wisconsin to get better and better and better. So, what are we doing about this? We're making smart investments by investing in people, ideas, infrastructure that's going to help us build the sort of future that we want for everybody in Wisconsin. By investing in our education system, the UW system, our technical colleges, as well as job training programs, we can continue to build that workforce that we need. By investing in more than $200 million in Wisconsin small businesses and creating the Wisconsin Fund, a $100 million venture capital fund of funds to help innovation grow here in the state, we can kickstart our economy, not just with our economy, but also with brand new ideas. By investing in our roads and bridges and infrastructure such as broadband, we can help workers, small businesses, and industries grow. And that's why my Badger Bounce Back agenda makes the largest investment in broadband in state history, investing more than what was done in 2013, 2015, and 2017 budgets combined. Because folks, it's 2021. High-speed internet is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. Now, whether you're learning at home, working at home, running a small business, or a family farm, accessing telemedicine services and so much more, broadband is the key to ensuring that we do bounce back better. And because we're Badgers, we're already testing out new ways of solving this problem. In the Northland Pines School District and Eagle River, they're testing whether they're using tethered drones to provide Wi-Fi for students scattered over their geographically distant school district. And in Eau Claire County, we recently announced a pilot project with SpaceX using their low orbit satellites to offer broadband to 50 homes and businesses in the rural parts of Eau Claire County. And that's just the start. Both of these projects are being funded by WEDC, and I want to thank Missy Hughes for her good work and her team's good work in supporting these innovative approaches to get our rural Wisconsinites online. And by investing in a more sustainable future in childcare and healthcare and transit, at the end of the day, what we're really investing in is the quality of life for the people of Wisconsin. Because we know if we make these critical investments in the people of Wisconsin, we have a team like the Packers, second to none. So thank you so much for inviting me today, and keep up the good work, New North. I've always appreciated the work that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Evers. We look forward to working with your administration with the rollout of programs, new initiatives, and funding to get the state of Wisconsin continued on the road to recovery. Our last official order of business before lunch is to acknowledge this year's winner of the Workplace Excellence Award, presented by Lisa Smith and sponsored by Right Management. Please help me welcome Lisa.
Thank you, Barb. You know, I think we should seriously reconsider Joe's offer of having an open bar over lunch, because, I mean, there's been so many amazing stories shared this morning. I mean, come on, who's with me? Well, now it's my turn. We're at the 1-yard line. Time to get it across the goal line. So this is New North's and Right Management's 12th year formally recognizing outstanding examples of workplace excellence at the New North Summit. Since 2009, we've honored 22 organizations for their continual pursuit of excellence, for their best-in-class people practices, and for their talent management strategies that have led to measurable and sustainable business outcomes. Today, we add one more organization to that esteemed list that truly has their offense, defense, and special teams strategies in lockstep. This award has been possible since 2009 because of an amazing team of local experts that I have the pleasure of working with, who graciously donate their time to reviewing and pouring through applications, conducting site visits. We had to do those virtually this year, so we had to pivot and make that happen. If you open your summit program to page 5, you'll see their names listed there. I am truly grateful for their passion, for their experience and their knowledge, and their dedication to this award process. So please join me in thanking them. There's a few of them here today. Thank you. Now, before I share more about this year's winner, I've got a question for you. So what is your organization doing to pursue workplace excellence? If your answer is, well, Lisa, we're doing a lot of amazing things, then our committee wants to see your application this coming year. We're making some exciting changes to our process going forward that will enable us to honor and recognize even more organizations that are on various points of their workplace excellence journey, from rising star to thought partner, thought leader. Phase 1 applications will be available next month on the New North website, and Phase 1 applications will be due on October 1st. So today, we recognize an accounting firm that has been in existence for 110 years. This organization has created a comprehensive set of practices that have resulted in significant growth, client satisfaction, and low employee turnover. Since 2006, they've almost doubled in size, and from 2002 to 2020, They went from an overall client satisfaction score of 74% to 90%. And in 2020, their Net Promoter Score was 65, which is incredibly impressive considering that the industry average is 23. This firm's practices are based around what they call the core four: confidence in action, outward thinking, resourceful, and exploratory. Outward thinking is an empathy-based philosophy that encourages associates to think about their colleagues, their clients, and the community before themselves. This outward mindset, as well as the other elements of the core four, are key components of their robust onboarding process for new associates, and they're reinforced throughout their culture. That includes their core HR processes, leadership and employee development initiatives, their hiring strategies, performance feedback discussions, and their total rewards program. Associates are also periodically invited to focus groups to honestly share their feedback about how the organization is living up to its values. This firm has also been an early adopter of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And they've provided training on unconscious bias, the power of inclusion, and they've formed several business resource groups. This firm's managing partner signed the commitment, along with other CEOs across the nation, the CEO Action for Diversity and Inclusion Pledge. As a result of these ongoing efforts, they've seen a 17% increase in applicants for internships and entry-level positions who self-identify as an underrepresented group. And they've also experienced a 110% increase in engagement with diverse candidates over the previous year through the interactive recruiting platform Handshake. As an organization, between 2005 and 2019, associates dedicated over 47,750 hours to community projects and served on over 200 nonprofit boards. Wow. Most notably, this firm has partnered with Team Rubicon and Microsoft to design and implement a volunteer management system that allows Team Rubicon to efficiently deploy over 85,000 veteran volunteers to provide disaster relief to communities in need. They are now making that system available to nonprofits nationwide, but probably worldwide eventually. While many organizations talk about putting employees first, this organization has done a remarkable job of walking the talk and consistently demonstrating its values over the last 15 years. It is one of the most comprehensive examples of combining human resource strategy with business strategy that our committee has witnessed. With an internal board of directors that is committed to this long-standing culture, we're confident of its sustainability despite any challenges or changes that they might face in the coming years. Well, I'm going to invite everybody to stand at this point because I know you are ready to stand. So everybody stand up. I am excited, and I hope you are as well. I'm excited to welcome to the stage our 2020-2021 New North Workplace Excellence Award winner, Wipfli. And joining us on stage to accept the award on behalf of Wipfli is Kurt Graysons, the managing partner of Wipfli, along with several members of his leadership team.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Lisa. And you can all sit down, but we're at the 2-inch yard, I promise. I promise, we're right there. I'm so proud to accept this award on behalf of about 175 individuals at Wipfli that work and live in the New North region. I want to thank Lisa and Right Management for their support and the Judges Committee for their support of us in this award. We're humbled by it, we're honored by it, knowing the tremendous companies that exist throughout the New North region. Thank you, Governor Evers, for your profound words, and for Barb Lemieux, you and the rest of the New North team and the Board of Directors for your support of economic development. It's great for us to be receiving this award here at Lambeau Field, since we've been the proud accounting firm to the Green Bay Packers since 1921, 100 years. So it's rewarding to lead a firm that the New North has recognized for our commitment to continuous improvement and progress with our people practices. I've been with Wipfli my entire career, and part of the reason that I continue to be here is the strength of our core values. We've heard a lot about that today, and we call that the Wipfli way. And with us today over here at our table is a number of employees or associates of the firm, 2 of which were architects of the Wipfli way 15 years ago. First, Rick Dreher, our former managing partner, as well as Dan Pickler, 2 weeks into your retirement, our former Northeast Wisconsin market leader. Joining me on the stage today is a few individuals. First, Jay Totsky, who takes over, and Dan has left the Green Bay market in good hands with Jay Totsky as our Green Bay market leader, and Randy Mahoney from our Fox Cities office is our market leader there. Wipfli has deep roots in the New North. As Lisa mentioned, we go back 110 years here, and so our roots run deep. And as a professional services firm, you know that our value is inextricably linked with our people and the support and success of our people. Our success is built on the talent not only that we can recruit and retain, but also the importance of the investments in our people, in their development, and the opportunities that we provide to empower them to live their purpose and their passion each and every day. Today, we're developing a modern workforce led by Maureen Pistone, on the end, our Chief Talent Officer. Our focus is on creating a culture of diverse and curious individuals who can positively impact and bring value to our clients and to our communities. It's central to our strategy as a firm, and it's critical to our success. The New North's vision is to be recognized nationally and globally as competitive. And that's Wipfli's vision as well. And we're so proud of the people who make it possible here from our home in Wisconsin. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting economic development in our region. Let's get to lunch. Unless, Lisa, you have any last things.
I don't.
All right, lunch we go. Thank you.
Congratulations, Wipfli. Well done. Wow, what an incredible day it's been. On behalf of the New North organization, we thank you for joining us today. Before you leave your tables, we ask that you come up with your creative way to somehow take the floral centerpiece as a gift. Tim Moore will also be available if you want your book autographed after. I think he was doing that before as well. And for investors, a reminder that our Investor Appreciation event will be held at Oshkosh Corporation's new headquarters on September 16th. And for those of you that aren't investors, please reach out to any board member or our New North team to learn more about the many benefits of supporting our regional efforts.
I think I'm the end zone. We'll call this a touchdown. So for lunch, there are 4 lines around the atrium. Please feel free to eat inside or move outside to the concourse area. Around 1:15, the drumline showcase will commence. Our participating high schools are Appleton East, Ashwaubenon, Bayport, and Kaukauna. So we thank Community First Credit Union for their sponsorship. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Great job.